There's a truth most people don't want to face. Life will never be fair. You can do everything right and still lose. You can give your all and still be left behind, and the world, it won't stop to apologize. But in the middle of that chaos, a different kind of power begins to grow. Not loud, not flashy, but quiet, steady, unshakable. This isn't the kind of video that promises quick success or eternal happiness. This is something deeper. This is about endurance. About clarity. And about learning how to hold your ground in a world that constantly tries to knock you down. In this video, you'll discover 5 Stoic rules, not for comfort, but for strength. The kind of strength that doesn't depend on luck, praise, or approval. The kind of strength that doesn't shout, but endures. This is the path of the Stoic. This is how you rise, not by resisting the storm, but by becoming the calm within it. If you're ready to stop chasing the world and start mastering yourself, then let's begin. Rule 1. Embrace the impermanence of life. Find freedom in change. Life doesn't ask for permission to change, it just does. One day, someone means the world to you. The next, they're a memory, faded, blurry, distant. It's in these shifts that we often feel the deepest ache. And yet, the Stoics remind us, the pain isn't just in the loss. It's in our resistance to the truth that nothing lasts. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. In other words, our emotional attachments, however beautiful, are shaped more by how we see someone than by who they truly are. We build stories around people. We cling to the roles we assign them. We wrap memories in meaning and assume the connection is permanent. But the Stoics invite us to do something radical. Let go before life forces you to. The illusion of permanence. We live most of our emotional lives inside a false contract. We believe that if something feels good, it should last. That if someone shows up for us once, they always will. That if love is real, it must be forever. But this is not how the world works. Trees shed their leaves. Oceans pull back their tides. People grow, drift, disappear. And the deeper we resist this, the more we suffer. Think about this. Have you ever tried holding onto a handful of dry sand? The tighter you grip, the faster it escapes your palm. That's the natural law of impermanence. The harder we cling, the more quickly things fall apart. Relationships are the same. Friendships fade not always because of betrayal, but because paths diverge. Romances end not always from lack of love, but from misaligned timing or growth. People walk away not because they're cruel, but because their chapter in your story has ended. My story of letting go. I had a friend, someone I considered a soulmate in the platonic sense. For 10 years, we were inseparable. Shared ambitions, fears, jokes no one else understood. The kind of connection you imagine growing old with. But life, as it does, began to stretch us apart. At first, I resisted. I reached out more, made plans, held space. I thought if I tried hard enough, I could pull us back to where we were. But each effort felt like grasping at smoke. One day, I sat alone in a cafe where we used to meet. And it hit me, not with anger, but with deep clarity. This friendship has already ended. I'm the only one still holding on. It was Marcus Aurelius's words that guided me that day. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. But when they must go, let them go with the same heart. That was my moment of peace. I didn't stop caring. I stopped resisting the truth. Why acceptance isn't weakness in our culture. Letting go often feels like giving up. We're told, to fight for what matters, to never let people go without a reason. But the Stoics propose a more grounded view. Letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's recognizing when the emotional cost of holding on outweighs the value of the connection. It's the act of reclaiming your energy, your clarity, your sense of self from something that's no longer mutual. And most importantly, it's accepting that all connections, no matter how meaningful, are temporary. The gift inside impermanence. Here's the truth. Impermanence isn't just something to mourn. It's something to be grateful for. If nothing lasted forever, then every moment mattered more. Every kind word, every shared laugh, every lingering touch all becomes sacred, not because they're infinite, but because they're fleeting. The Stoics would say, if you knew something was temporary, wouldn't you cherish it more deeply while it's here? This is the paradox. Emotional detachment doesn't make you love less. It helps you love more honestly, more presently, without clinging, without conditions. Because love isn't proven by permanence. It's proven by presence. A simple daily practice. Try this. Each morning before you start your day, take 30 seconds to repeat this thought. Everything and everyone in my life is borrowed. Not owned, not guaranteed. At first, it may sting. But with time, it will shift something inside you. A likeness. A quiet strength. A deeper presence with the people you care about. You'll stop trying to hold them like possessions. You'll start honoring them as gifts. And when the day comes, because it always does, when they must go, you will not break. You will bow in gratitude for the time you shared. The sand and the sea. Imagine again the sand in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. But if you open your palm, let it rest there gently, it stays longer. This is the heart of Rule 1. Don't hold people so tightly that your fear of losing them crushes the very joy of having them. Hold them gently, knowing that love isn't in the grip. It's in the grace of letting go when the tide calls them elsewhere. Closing thought. Stoicism doesn't teach us to stop feeling. It teaches us to stop clinging. Marcus Aurelius didn't ask you to harden your heart. He asked you to open your mind to the reality of change and to find peace in that truth. So the next time you feel someone slipping away, don't beg them to stay. Pause. Breathe. Whisper to yourself, this too is part of life, and I am strong enough to let go with love. That's not emotional detachment. That's emotional freedom. Rule 2. Accept reality, even when it hurts. To live well means to see the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. There's a particular kind of pain that doesn't stem from wounds, betrayal, or loss. It's the pain of resistance, the ache. That comes from fighting reality. You don't want it to rain today, but it rains anyway. You wish they would have stayed, but they didn't. You expected recognition, but silence greeted your efforts. And so we protest, we wrestle, we ask, why? Me? But if there's one thing Stoicism teaches, and teaches with unwavering clarity, it's this. Reality doesn't care about your expectations. The world moves according to its own logic, not your preferences. And the more you resist this, the more it hurts. You can't heal what you won't accept. Imagine you've broken your leg, but you refuse to admit it. You tell yourself it's just a sprain. Try to walk on it, and wince in agony with each step. Denial doesn't reduce the pain, it multiplies it. Reality isn't altered just because you don't want it to be true. This is how most of us live, refusing to accept the emotional fractures in our lives. We deny the end of a relationship, the reality of failure, the hard truth that someone we trusted wasn't who we thought they were. But in the act of denial, we become stuck in a loop, reliving the disappointment again and again. Because we haven't learned the first lesson. Accept it. Feel it. Face it. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, if someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed. That's radical honesty. Not with others, with yourself. Pain is not the enemy. Denial is. We've been conditioned to view pain as something to be avoided at all costs. We numb it, suppress it, distract ourselves from it. But Stoicism offers a sharper perspective. Pain is part of nature, and nature doesn't make mistakes. Pain isn't an interruption, it's often the path. Seneca wrote, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has." Not. Why? Because contentment doesn't come from having what you want. It comes from wanting what is, from aligning your inner world with the outer one. This doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean you stop striving or improving. It simply means you stop demanding that life conform to your script. You stop clinging to what should be and learn to live fully in what is. Don't have to approve of it. Just acknowledge it. One of the most misunderstood ideas in Stoicism is that acceptance means approval. It doesn't. Accepting reality doesn't mean you're okay with being hurt, cheated, or betrayed. It means you stop arguing with the facts. A storm comes. You don't yell at the sky. The market crashes. You don't scream at the numbers. Your heart breaks. You don't beg the past to come back. You witness it. You feel it. And then you move forward, wiser, sharper, more aware. There's power in simply saying, "This is happening. I don't like it, but it is real. And I will deal with it from a place of calm, not chaos." The lie of control is seductive. We're taught that if we just plan well enough, prepare hard enough, think positively enough, we can avoid misfortune. But life isn't a spreadsheet, it's a sea. And sometimes the waves rise without warning. The Stoics didn't aim to control the sea. They learned how to sail in all weather. That's the difference between fragility and strength. Fragility needs things to go its way. Strength adapts, bends, and endures. As Epictetus put it, it is not events that disturb people. It is their judgments concerning them. Reality isn't what hurts you. It's your expectations clashing with that reality. The discipline of perception. What's fascinating is that two people can live through the exact same hardship, a divorce, a layoff, a betrayal, and come out of it completely differently. One becomes bitter, the other becomes better. What changed? Not the event. The perception. To accept reality is not to give up. It is to switch lenses. From one that blames and resents to one that asks, what can I learn from this? What's the truth underneath my discomfort? It's not easy. But clarity rarely is. Acceptance is the doorway to peace. When you truly accept reality, even when it hurts, something surprising happens. The pain becomes manageable. You stop making it worse with mental resistance. You stop layering anxiety over grief, rage over disappointment, fantasies over facts. That you find an inner stillness, a kind of unshakable peace, not because the world is calm, but because you are. This is the core of Stoicism. Not to avoid hardship, but to remain grounded within it. Not to pretend life is fair, but to remain fair in the face of injustice. Not to expect ease, but to become stronger than adversity. So next time reality shows you something uncomfortable, don't flinch. Don't deny it. Don't run. Stand still. Face it. Accept it. And in doing so, you'll find that the truth, no matter how painful, is never your enemy. It's your beginning. Rule 3. Stop expecting fairness. Life doesn't owe you balance. We all want the world to be fair. As kids, we're taught that good behavior brings rewards and bad behavior brings punishment. But as we grow older, reality teaches us something much harsher. The world doesn't operate on fairness. It never has. And the sooner you stop expecting it to, the freer you'll be. Fairness is a beautiful idea, but a dangerous illusion. You can be kind, work hard, and still be overlooked. You can do everything right and still lose. You can love with all your heart and still get abandoned. Why? Because fairness is not a law of the universe. It's a human-made ideal. The sun doesn't rise because it's fair for it to do so. The rain doesn't fall because people deserve it. Nature moves forward, indifferent to our emotions, expectations, or ideas of justice. And so does life. The myth of cosmic justice. A lot of people live with quiet frustration because deep down, they believe life should be fair. If I'm a good person, good things should happen to me. If I give love, I should receive love in return. If I work hard, I deserve success. But this cosmic contract doesn't exist. The universe never signed it. This doesn't mean you shouldn't be good or kind or loving. It means you should stop doing those things with expectation. Do them because they're the right thing to do, not because you're waiting for some karmic payout. Stoicism teaches us to act with virtue regardless of outcome. Because the outcome is not up to us. The world may reward you. It may ignore you. But your job is the same, to stay true to your values. When you expect fairness, you create bitterness. The belief in fairness isn't just unrealistic, it's harmful. Because when things don't go your way, you feel betrayed. Resentment creeps in. You start thinking, this isn't fair. I deserve better. Why is this happening to me? You might look around and see people who lie, cheat, and manipulate getting ahead, while you struggle in silence. And it burns. But what if you let go of that expectation? What if you accepted that fairness is a fantasy and focused instead on who you become through the struggle? Because here's the truth. Life might not always give you what you want, but it always gives you the opportunity to grow, to become stronger, sharper, wiser. When you stop asking, why me? You can start asking, what now? Stoic wisdom. Don't ask for fairness. Ask for strength. Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When someone wrongs you, you don't control what they did, but you control how you respond. When your hard work goes unnoticed, you don't control the outcome, but you control your discipline and perseverance. When love fails, you don't control the other person's choices, but you control whether you become bitter or remain open to love. Stoicism flips the script. Instead of screaming at the unfairness of life, it teaches you to rise above it. Not with arrogance, but with clarity. You're not owed an easy path, but you can walk any path with power if you let go of what you deserve and focus on what you can do. Modern reality check. Life doesn't care about your narrative. In today's world, we're bombarded with curated stories, Instagram highlight reels, rags to riches tales, motivational quotes that say, believe and the universe will reward you. But here's the thing. Life doesn't care about your story arc. You can do everything right and still face loss. You can follow the rules and still get played. You can give your best and still fail. That's not a glitch in the system. That is the system. But once you stop expecting life to be a movie with a happy ending, once you stop demanding fairness, you become unstoppable, because you're no longer waiting for life to treat you right. You're simply doing what's right. Regardless. Let go of the scoreboard. Most of our frustration comes from keeping Invisible scoreboards in our minds. I've been there for them. Why aren't they there for me? I've worked so hard. Why am I still broke? I've been loyal. Why did they leave? These thoughts are human, but they're also traps. The scoreboard is imaginary. No one else sees it but you. And life isn't keeping track of points. Instead of comparing outcomes, focus on your alignment. Ask, am I acting with integrity? Am I staying true to what I believe in? Am I growing from this challenge, even if it hurts? When you trade the scoreboard for self-respect, life becomes simpler and more peaceful. A new definition of strength isn't about overpowering others. It's about enduring unfairness without becoming bitter. It's about staying calm when chaos reigns. It's about standing tall when life gives you less than you deserve and refusing to let it shrink your heart. The Stoic warrior doesn't expect life to be fair. He prepares for the unfair. And because of that, he's never surprised, never broken. This doesn't make him cold or detached. It makes him resilient. Fairness is not a guarantee, but fortitude, that's something you can build every day. Final thought. The freedom of letting go. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop expecting fairness is the moment you become free. You stop chasing cosmic balance. You stop begging for closure. You stop needing the world to make sense. And in that space, something powerful emerges. Clarity, peace, power. So don't waste energy screaming into the void for justice. Build your strength in silence. Move forward with purpose. Live by your principles, not by your expectations. The world may not be fair, but you can be fearless. Rule 4. Resilience isn't about winning, it's about enduring. Most people misunderstand resilience. They think it's about winning, about conquering, about getting through hard times with a grin, slaying dragons, and coming out victorious on the other side. But the Stoics saw it differently. Resilience isn't about triumph. It's about endurance. The Stoic redefinition of strength. Marcus Aurelius never wrote about being the strongest emperor or the cleverest strategist. He wrote about acceptance, discipline, and the inner fortress. He knew suffering intimately, war, betrayal, the death of children, yet he kept moving forward. Not because he won every battle, but because he stayed. Because he endured. True resilience, in the Stoic sense, is the ability to keep showing up when life doesn't reward you, when things don't make sense, when you're heartbroken, tired, or alone. It's about doing the right thing, not because it guarantees a result, but because it's the right thing. Modern life is a test of quiet endurance. We live in a world obsessed with speed, metrics, external victories. If you're not winning, you're losing. If you're not smiling, you're weak. If you're not productive, you're failing. But the Stoic knows that endurance is the real test. Can you still be kind when life is cruel? Can you still be honest when lies are more profitable? Can you still stand tall when everything inside you wants to collapse? That's what matters. And the truth is, most of life is not winning. Most of life is uncertainty, illness, waiting, trying again, saying goodbye, picking up the broken pieces. Most of life is grit without glory. The Stoic farmer, a story about time and trust. Imagine a farmer. He plants his seeds in spring. He waters. He waits. He doesn't demand the sun to shine brighter or the rain to fall faster. He doesn't dig up the roots every week to check progress. He trusts the process. He endures the seasons. Now picture a second man. He plants the same seeds, but he's anxious. He expects quick results. He grows frustrated. He complains when the weather turns. Eventually, he gives up, calling it all a waste of time. But it wasn't the seed that failed. It was his endurance that did. This is resilience, not forcing results, but remaining rooted in patience, principle, and purpose, even when nothing seems to be working. From emotion to equanimity. The Stoics didn't ask you to feel nothing. They asked you to be ruled by nothing. Epictetus taught that life would not spare you pain, but it could spare you self-inflicted suffering. And most suffering comes not from what happens, but from your reaction to it. If you're humiliated, can you breathe through the shame and still return to your values? If you lose something precious, can you mourn it deeply, but not let it define your worth? This is not emotional suppression. It's emotional maturity. To endure is to allow the storm to pass through you without destroying what's most essential inside. Endurance is quiet and unnoticed, and that's its power. No one will applaud you for getting out of bed during a depression. No one sees the courage it takes to stay in a failing relationship out of principle. No one celebrates the inner battle of staying kind when you're burning inside. But these quiet victories, they build character. They shape soul, they form the person who can be trusted in chaos. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Endurance isn't glamorous. It's not the stuff of headlines, but it's what separates the hollow from the real. What you build in the dark becomes your light. The Stoics believe that hard times are not to be avoided. They're to be used to refine you, to test your convictions, to strip away the false, and reveal what's eternal. So when life is unfair, ask, can I still act with integrity? When the world is watching you lose, ask, can I still remain centered? Because every time you endure without becoming bitter, every time you suffer without seeking revenge, every time you feel lost but still move forward, you become stronger. Not in the body, not in your image, but in your being. Modern application. Endurance in a culture of escape. We are trained to escape, to swipe, to scroll, to numb, to distract. We run from discomfort like it's a disease, but the Stoic is trained to stay in the hard conversation, to stay in the silence after failure, to stay in the discomfort of self-awareness. Why? Because that's where transformation begins. If you never stay long enough in your pain, you never meet the part of you that can rise above it. The enduring soul is the dangerous one. A man who always wins is impressive, but a man who never gives up, even when losing, is untouchable. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't break when rejected. He doesn't fold when overwhelmed. Why? Because his power is not in outcomes, it's in his essence. And that essence was forged in suffering. Final reflection. Resilience isn't about winning. It's about enduring with wisdom. It's not how loud you shout when you succeed. It's how steady you remain when you're crumbling. The world will try to shake you. That's guaranteed. But when your identity is no longer tied to winning, when your worth is no longer tied to applause, when your spirit stays strong even when your world falls apart, then you're free. Then you're truly stoic. Rule 5. You can't control events, but you can always choose your response. There are moments in life when everything falls apart. A job you thought was secure disappears overnight. A friend betrays you when you least expect it. The person you love walks away, and the world feels completely out of your control. You want to scream, you want to fix it, you want to undo it all. But the Stoics remind us, the only true power you have is how you respond. When Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome, the most powerful empire of its time, He faced a world constantly in flux, wars, plagues, rebellions, betrayal by those closest to him. And yet in his personal writings, never intended for anyone else to read, he wrote one of the most liberating truths ever shared. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This idea isn't just a philosophical comfort. It's a weapon in a chaotic world. We can't stop the rain, but we can choose whether to curse the sky or dance in the storm. Most people live in reaction mode. They are slaves to external triggers. A rude comment ruins their entire day. A delay in traffic turns them into someone they don't even recognize. One failure makes them give up entirely. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Power is internal, that it's not about denying reality. It's about facing it with discipline. The Stoic warrior doesn't pretend life is easy. He simply trains himself to respond with clarity, not chaos. Let's break it down. You can't control if someone lies to you. But you can control if you become bitter or wiser. You can't control if the market crashes. But you can control your spending, your patience, your preparation. You can't control if someone disrespects you. But you can control whether you retaliate with ego or rise with dignity. The real battleground is not out there. It's in here. In your interpretation, in your frame, in your response. We are often conditioned to believe we are helpless without external control. That we need to fix everything, have everyone agree with us, win every battle. But that mindset creates misery, because life doesn't play by your script. People will hurt you. Plans will fall apart. The future will remain uncertain. And so the most powerful mindset becomes this: let the world be what it is. I will be who I choose to be. Epictetus, once a slave turned philosopher, said it best: it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This wasn't abstract to him. He literally had no control over his body, his status, or his freedom. And yet, he became free internally by mastering the only thing he could, his judgment. His response: here's the hard truth. You can't stop heartbreak. You can't prevent every unfair outcome. You can't guarantee success, but you can choose. Whether you stay kind or become cold. Whether you reflect or lash out. Whether you grow or become resentful. And that choice every single time is what defines you. Think of a candle. The wind may blow, storms may rage, but the candle's flame remains protected if the glass surrounding it is strong. Your inner response is that glass. The world will test it. But Stoicism trains you to reinforce it. To be unshaken. Not because life is gentle, but because you are prepared. Let's take a modern example. You post something online. A stranger mocks you. You can reply with anger, or you can say nothing. You can feel insecure for hours. Or remember, your worth is not measured by them. One comment, two paths. Multiply that by hundreds of daily events. And you start to see your life is shaped not by the events, but by your reactions to them. We're not saying it's easy. Responding with wisdom takes practice. It takes breath, stillness, space. It takes resisting the urge to be ruled by emotion in the moment. But the more you do it, the more powerful you become. Because while others are swinging wildly at the world, you've built a calm, centered fortress within. The next time something unexpected happens, pause. Ask yourself, can I control this? If not, what response aligns with who I want to be? What lesson can I take even from this? This doesn't make the pain disappear, but it transforms it. It means you suffer on your terms. It means even chaos bows to your discipline. In the end, that's the Stoic gift. to live with peace in a world that offers none, to hold your center when all else breaks loose, to be unmoved not because you don't care, but because you've mastered what truly matters, your response. Final reminder, you will never control everything that happens to you, but you will always control what happens within you, and in that space, between stimulus and response, lies your greatest freedom. Choose wisely. You've made it to the end, but this isn't the end of a video, it's the beginning of a different mindset. One where you stop begging the world to be fair. One where you no longer flinch when life strikes. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more noise. What you need is silence. Stillness. And the courage to live by rules that most people are too afraid to even acknowledge. These 5 Stoic rules aren't a cure for chaos. They're the armor you wear while walking through it. The world doesn't get easier, but you get stronger, quietly, relentlessly, without asking for permission. So go forward, not to control everything, but to control yourself. And in doing that, you'll become the one thing this world can't break. Thank you for watching. Stay grounded. Stay stoic.